Vishwanath from Bangalore is on the phone line right now. Vishwanath, good evening. Tell me what your question is.
Yes, madam. See, we have a problem with a leading developer whose name is called as Nitesh Estate Limited.
Yes.
We have purchased a flat in his project, Nitesh Caesar Palace in the Kanakpura Road, Bangalore.
Yes.
The project has started in the year 2009 and 10, promised to deliver by 2013 and 14.
Okay.
So far, not even a single block is completed. The project consists of 8 blocks,
Right.
totally 520 flats, and most of us, we have paid almost 90% of the amount.
Now tell me
And
something, Mr. Vishwanath, if the project is not complete, how have you paid this much of the amount already? Shouldn't that be construction-linked payments?
That is our mistake, what we have done.
Okay.
Based on their demand notes, whatever they send, whenever they are sending, so everybody has paid the amount.
Okay.
But now they claim that they have kept 1 block ready for possession, but unfortunately there is no BESCOM electricity there.
Okay.
And they are forcing us to register without OC. And they are making us to sign the maintenance agreement for 10 years at the time of registration, like a gunpoint. So these are the problems which we were facing. Of course, we have all come together, almost about 175 people, and we have formed an association.
Okay.
Is that necessary that we have to register this buyers association, then take up the issue with consumer court or civil court?
All right. Let's break this down.
Unfortunately, one more thing.
Yes,
In our sale agreement, there is a clause of arbitration.
Okay.
Will that affect to go through the consumer court or civil court in this regard?
All right. Let's take this one at a time. Vinay Singh, the developer cannot force, he used the term gunpoint, the developer cannot force registration on a building that doesn't have an OC. How do you register a home in a building that doesn't have an OC?
No, registration has nothing to do with the OC, but possession does have everything to do with the OC. So in Maharashtra itself, you can see that the builder is bound to actually register the agreement at the point of time that he accepts any money from you. So that's in fact good, because then you would have a manner of enforcing your rights. Till that agreement is there and till that agreement is registered, there'll always be some confusion about what your rights are, or maybe there'll be nothing really on paper. So I think the registration part is a must and you should do it as soon as possible. However,
10 years maintenance?
Yes, that is where therein lies the rub, where the developer is forcing them to sign up an agreement where probably he or one of his sister concerns will be doing the maintenance. So that is where you have to get together and resist if you are not happy with the terms. And if
I know this, that when a developer is asking to pay maintenance up front, it has to go into a separate bank account. It is not money that can be diverted to anything else. So first of all, he needs to make sure that this maintenance check that's being demanded, find out where that money is going, what bank account, in whose name you're going to have to write that check. And of course, Vinay, there's absolutely no legal basis for 10 years maintenance up front, is there?
Not really, because this is an agreement, and agreements means that both parties have to agree. It cannot be that the developer decides and then puts a gun to their head, So I think they should resist this, especially if they are not happy with the developer already, or if they feel that the rates that are being charged to them are usurious, or they can find someone better and cheaper.
Uday Vavekar, so do the registration.
The point is, taking 10 years maintenance in advance is an unfair trade practice. Absolutely. There are various judgments, and the point is that these are unconscionable agreement under the Contract Act, opposed to the public policy, which means one side there is a mighty builder who is putting you an handsome ransom or extortion that if you don't pay this, I will not give you the possession of the flat. Such clauses are not enforceable. Judgment of Pushpendra Cooperative Housing Society.
Uday Vavekar, maintenance in advance, what's a fair amount? What should we be willing to pay as customers?
See, the point is, first of all, you have not got the possession, so where the maintenance come from? The maintenance should start from the day you have taken the possession. You can't take an advance maintenance. And if he is taking an advance maintenance, at the most he can take 1 year as a deposit, because ultimately the moment he crosses 90 people of sale, he has to register a society. Even 10 members, he can register a society.
All right, Uday, quick question. He tells us that there's one building ready right now that does not have electricity supply. What can the customers do about that?
The question is, until the occupation certificate comes, Supreme Court says, National Commission says that the builder is responsible to pay the property charges, excess electricity charges, and if there is no electricity, how the possession can be given? I mean, how people will stay there? In fact, you are not expected to take the possession without building completion certificate. Leave alone here, there is no occupation certificate.
All right, so do the registration, but don't take possession?
Yes, they can take furnishing possession so that they can claim the possession, but at the same time there will be no maintenance charges paid in even for the furnishing possession, or they can even, if there is an alternate supply or generators fixation, they can take if there is so dire need. Otherwise they'll have to go to consumer court, civil court or any other such court, but effective as consumer court, and ask for interim relief that immediately electrical power supply should be given, essentials should be started, and they can get an order within 6 to 8 months after filing of the complaint.
It appears that the property isn't ready when you're saying that, electricity
there's no electricity. There's only one block ready, the others are not. I want to ask Aditya Vatwa this question. The clause of arbitration that all of these customers have signed, what does that mean? Yeah. If anybody watching at home right now pulls up a document and looks at it and says, hey, you know what, I've also signed a clause of arbitration. What does that mean?
So an arbitration clause is under Section 8 of the Arbitration Act compulsory. It basically precludes you from going to the civil court and initiating a civil case. So if you and I enter into an agreement and we have an arbitration clause, I am foreclosed, so are you, from going to a civil court. But however, in a case like this, an arbitration does not foreclose your right to approach the consumer courts. So that remedy is still available to you. So in that sense, I don't think he should be very worried about the arbitration. But I just want to make one more point. I think the fact that the builder is, when he has constructed one block and not the other 7 blocks, is now nudging you to register a document sort of seems suspicious to me. I think we must warn the gentleman to at least scan the document that the builder wishes him to register with him very minutely, because my suspicion is that there will be a lot of promises that the builder would be trying to sort of whittle down in this registered agreement. Because what he needs to understand today is the fact that the 7 other blocks aren't ready. I am presuming that there are a lot of common amenities in the complex which also perhaps are not ready, and that makes again the contract, as I had said earlier, voidable, and he can today also choose to rescind it.
All right, that's very interesting, and also very quick question, Uday Vavekar. Obviously, this is great news for the case. 170 consumers have come together. They've formed an association. They don't need to register that association before approaching the courts, do they? They can approach the courts as a group right now.
No, Consumer Act is very clear. An unregistered association also can file a case. You need not be registered. If they are registered under charity commissioner or as a profit organization, is good. But even an unregistered association can file a case, and it's very clear. As long as they have a memorandum of association, they've got a bank account, not necessarily, but a memorandum of understanding, that is the association is necessary, rules and regulations.
All right, so see, they might not be required to register the association, but do you think it makes sense to do so anyways, just to put themselves in a stronger position?
Yes, because to file a case in the consumer court, individual people coming together will be difficult, because it is for individual flats and the agreements are separate. Therefore, cause of action can be separate. But when you form an association, the association is considered as the one entity, whether registered or not. And the section under Consumer Protection Act is very clear, which is 21M, calls the person any association registered or not. All
right. So, Vishwanath, if you're still on the phone line, sign the registration, but have a very, very close look at that registration deal. Aditya very kindly pointed out the fact that there might be portions of that deal that might be very unfair to you, given what we've seen happen so far. So have a lawyer comb through every sentence. Do not pay 10 years of maintenance up front. That's absolutely unfair. Demand the electricity before you move on anything. It gives you the right to go to consumer court. Arbitration. The arbitration clause prevents you from approaching civil courts, does not prevent you in any way from approaching consumer court. If you have an association, you don't have to register it. But if you can, it puts you in a stronger position. Is there anything else we can help you with, Vishwanath?
And 1 second, madam. The developer is not answering for the group of people. He wants to manage individually.
But he can't force you to do that. Vinay Singh, can he force them to do that? Because there is a group.
Of course he wants to handle them individually, because then he will bully each one of them. So it makes better sense to form that association. I would suggest register it, because it gives you a certain place in the eyes of law also.
Right.
Take a little time, maybe in a month's time. Normally you can register a charitable trust, at least in the state of Maharashtra. So please do it, and then approach them and say, no, we want to talk to you as an organization.
Right, and once you register it, you become an organization. Obviously, then, if you've got 170 members out of 520, there will be more members who will gravitate towards you, and you will have a stronger association. So you don't have to agree to that, Vishwanath, to meet the developer one-on-one, because you have an association right now. I think our entire panel agrees unanimously that you have to approach the consumer court as an association. That would be the best way forward. Has the time for conversation...
Word of caution. When you form an association, see that your object clause covers the litigation with the builder.
Okay. The association objective should also cover the clause of litigation with the builder. Uday Bhavekar, obviously the time for conversation with the developer at this point is past us, and Vishwanath should not agree to sit down one-on-one anymore.
No, yes, of course, he can even reconcile after the filing of the case. If you really come to a settlement, you can really get an order within 3 days in consumer court after filing the case, after admission, of course.
All right, so Vishwanath, so that's what you do. You go file that case with the association that you have.
As a group, can we approach the consumer court?
Yes, you can. And you must approach as a group, because as a group, you will have more leverage on your side. And once you file that case, you'll realize that the developer will also be in a far more amicable position to negotiate with you. He'll want to sit down far more. So go ahead and file that case as a group. Vishwanath, do it as soon as possible. I want to take more questions. Anil is on the phone line from Mumbai. Anil, go ahead.